It doesn't matter whether you're doing projects for $500, $1,000, $5,000, 10 grand, or 50 grand. The processes that we've implemented through the years in our video production company, working for heaps of global brands all over the world, is the process that we use has now been refined so well that it ultimately means that you can do much more and deliver better quality by spending a lot less time on it as well. In the start of business, you're naturally really inefficient. You're trying to do everything. You're wearing a lot of different hats, from sales through to finance, through marketing and production, that it kind of creates this huge mess. And it's sometimes not easy to see the things in your business that are slowing it down and stopping you from being able to basically do more projects, and you're putting a limit and a cap on what is achievable. So I wanted to share with you how we manage large projects and how we actually deliver them in a timely manner and manage to make good profit. So first of all, we always start off with the sale. Of course, that's where it comes, right? And that usually is in the scope of a discovery call, where we start to get to know the client if it's our first time working with them, and we start to really chat about all of their challenges and the problems that they face in their business right now, and ultimately why do they think video or this type of video is going to solve the problem for them. We'd then have a really collaborative discussion with our creative team about how we could actually expand on that more and provide value and make sure that they achieve their goal, because at the end of the day, if they're spending a load of money on a video, they're going to want to make sure it hits that goal, but they're not the experts in the field. We are, so we would advise them on what type of content or what kind of video strategy might be best for them. And that all comes in that discovery call, where we start to outline really what we start to call the scope of work, the document that includes the brief, the deliverables, the deadlines, the budget. All of those things go into that document. After that, and the budget's been agreed for the project, we would then move into what we would call a video strategy session. And this is a really fun collaborative session, usually lasts around a day or two, where we work with the key stakeholders, the key people and the key players within the company, our client that we're doing work for, along with all the key members of the production and creative management team here in our business as well. And this is where we start to break down, what does this video actually look like? We start to get storyboard ideas, script ideas. If we're producing multiple videos, what do they look like? The tone we're using. And ultimately, we break down the perception that we're trying to change as well. So if people currently think that this law firm is overpriced and too expensive, then we want to change them into thinking that they get really good value for money and they get access to the world's top lawyers. Then they're the things that we need to address inside this video campaign. Now, of course, that's completely fictitious, but you can see how just by creating a video for someone to look good is one thing, and it might hit the mark, but actually by doing the strategy, we really start to define exactly what's going to work well, so that they know they're going to get a return on their investment before we even touch a camera. After that session, we move on to the next stage in our process, which is in-house. As a team, we all get together and we expand on that in the strategy session ourselves. So we'll spend a few hours as a team really diving into what was said, coming up with our creative ideas and how might we answer the questions that the client has proposed. Once we've done a solid job on that, we then simply move on to the next stage, which is getting a call with the client, and we then just pitch the ideas back to them. So it's kind of a case of saying, you told us this, you wanted this, we agreed that this was probably a better strategy, this was the strategy we've come up with, it ticks box A, B and C and D, it also benefits you in this area, what do you think, this is the confirmed price, etc, etc. And oftentimes they'll just go, yep, fantastic, and they'll kind of be blown actually away with the amount that's gone into this, and they get really excited because they can see their ideas and visions starting to come alive through our input as well. Once we've then got the sign off and we've got ultimately that scope of work document, we know exactly what we're doing, the deliverables, the budget and everything else and the breakdowns, then it comes into a case of actually moving into scripting, storyboards and animatics. So animatics, if you don't know, are like a visual storyboard. So it's where we might use videos to really start to get the kind of mood and tone, and start to use some stock footage or other clips from in the industry or our previous catalog to actually start to kind of pull out how this video might flow. That, along with a storyboard and then the shot list, all of those things and the script all come together at this point because we've got the budget confirmed. We're happy to kind of, move on along this kind of train of thought. Nothing should change from this point. Then our account account management team, they'll book in the location. They'll make sure all the team are all booked in for that as well, whether we're using external or internal. Once we have everything confirmed in terms of locations and anything else that might be needed, we would then often just double confirm that with the client, because there's often some changes that might happen. They might have wanted this massive house, but it's not available in those days, so we've picked this one instead, or whatever that parameter might be that changes. And again, all of this works on really small scale stuff as well. So, you know, you might not be up to that level yet, and that's fine, or you might be beyond it and you're actually just looking for ways to streamline your business more. Whatever it is, this process just works really fluidly, and you can take what works for you in your business. The main thing is to make sure that the client is consistently kept updated. That's the nicest thing. When things change, just to update them, let them know about your progress. There's nothing worse as a client than sitting there thinking, I don't know when I'm getting my video, or I don't know when this is happening. I haven't heard from them from a week. Like, is it okay? They're spending money with you. So just constantly touch base with them. We usually set up a WhatsApp group to keep things open-ended communication, and then we can just post things in there so they know where we're up to. Like, oh, your storyboard's coming along really well. We'll attach a photo with that. And then the one thing we definitely make sure we do is just give them an email or a message a couple of days before the shoot, just to make sure everything's all confirmed, no last minute changes, and then obviously straight into the production. With the production, it's nice and easy because you've got everything storyboarded, everything just follows suit, and it's pretty straightforward stuff because you've done all the hard work in the planning, and that's almost what they're paying for. They're paying for you thinking rather than your doing. So you do all of that initially, then you do the doing, which is often fun and really creative. We send them a follow-up email after the shoot just to say thank you, obviously often is a great shoot, and to update the scope of work again. Imagine if it's raining outside but you'd planned for it to be lovely and sunny, then obviously that's something that just changes the flow of the video, and it's just another stage where you can get sign off to say, yep, look, it rained on the day, you were there, you agreed, we're going to do this instead, yep, and then it just gets updated. This means it stops any comebacks later on, so when their bosses see the video and they say, oh, you didn't get this shot, we can say, well, no, actually, we all agreed collectively, our team and your team, that we couldn't do that because it was raining out or something like that. So it does cover all parties involved. And then it moves into pretty much the straightforward bit, the editing, post-production. We then give them some updates if this takes a couple of weeks for us to do, or a little bit of time. We'll send them updates so they know, again, where we're up to with it. Send them over the first draft, and oftentimes the first draft is nailed. They might have one or two amendments, that's fine. They come back with a couple of small changes, but in our experience, because we've done all the other stages to this so well, very rarely do we suffer with any problems after the post-editing or the post-production side of things is done. So we do the post-production, we send it over to them, get their review, one or two changes, send it over, completion, and then we're thinking about the next project. When we move on to this point, no matter, and this is the thing that most filmmakers and production companies forget about, is when you reach the end of a project, you're thinking about the next one. You're thinking about a new client, the next project you've got on in your calendar for a new client or a different client or whatever it is. People forget, and this is one of the most important things that we do, is we get a final meeting in with our team and their team to discuss the project, where there are ways of working better, what worked well, what didn't, and more importantly, in that call, it gives you a really good time where you're face to face with them, or you're on a video call, you've got their attention to then talk about the bigger picture. While we were on the shoot, we were talking about XYZ. I was thinking that we could potentially try and do this. How does that sound? Or we're implementing this project at the moment, or it's going live next week. Fantastic. After that, have you thought about this instead to really amplify what we've already done? This is a great opportunity to think about those upsells. Honestly, like doubled our revenue overnight. When we started to really think about upsell opportunities to help our clients more, second we started to offer basically consultations or, you know, catch-up calls after the project, was when we started to notice the volume of work started to come to us even more, because we could take what we had just learned from their business and really expand on it more and find new areas that we could perhaps help them in as well. Look, on this YouTube channel, we're a massive community of filmmakers, almost 28,000 of us, which is absolutely insane. People at all different stages and with their own ideas. And just because you're at the start doesn't mean you don't have a valid idea that could help someone that's been doing it for 20 years. So I'd love to see in the comments any advice that you would give to someone. Maybe it's been an aha moment for you that you've decided, like, oh yeah, it wasn't until I started doing this thing that really helped me. I'd love to see as many of you get involved in the comments as possible. And if you want to know how to sign up these clients onto long-term retainers, ultimately solving the challenge of constantly doing sales and making sure that you're profitable, having a set fee coming into you every single month guaranteed, then click the link in the description. I've got a free training event that goes into how to find your ideal client, how to reach out to them, make that sale, and then sign them up onto a program we call the RCP system. Make sure you take a look at that. I look forward to seeing you there.